What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, and the Philadelphia 76ers are finally going to retire former Sixer great Moses Malone's jersey, his number 2. I remember as a child, I used to, well, not as a child, but as a teenager, and then as, became a young man, I used to wonder why they hadn't retired his number. Because he had a remarkable stint with them. I do realize that he only had 4 great years with them. Later on, toward the end of his career, when he was a journeyman, I think it was next to his last NBA season, he played with the Sixers again, but, that didn't really count, He had 5 years, but the 4 years that he played with them in the 80s is what really counted. And they were really great seasons. Reading from an article right now. From 1982 to 1985-86, Moses Malone won regular season MVP, NBA Finals MVP, brought a championship to the city, and made 2 All-NBA first team, an All-NBA second team, and 4 All-Star teams. So Philadelphia is honoring him. The Philadelphia 76ers announced today the team will retire the late Moses Malone's number 2 in a special halftime ceremony on Friday, February 8th, 2019, when the Sixers host the Denver Nuggets at 7 p.m. on ESPN, NBC Sports Philadelphia, and 97.5 The Fanatic. Prior to the game, the Sixers will unveil a Malone sculpture on Sixers Legend Walk at the Philadelphia 76ers training complex in Camden, New Jersey. Moses Malone will join a short list of NBA players to have their jerseys retired by multiple teams. Wilt Chamberlain, of course, has had his jersey retired by 3 different clubs: the Los Angeles Lakers, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Golden State Warriors. When Wilt played with them, they were called the Philadelphia Warriors. Pete Maravich, the Utah Jazz, the New Orleans Pelicans. When, of course, he never played with the Pelicans, but he played with the Jazz when they were in New Orleans. So I guess that's the reason why his jersey is retired by that organization. And the Atlanta Hawks. Abdul-Jabbar, the Milwaukee Bucks, Los Angeles Lakers, Shaquille O'Neal, the Miami Heat and the Lakers, Oscar Robertson, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Sacramento Kings, Charles Barkley, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Phoenix Suns, Clyde Drexler, the Houston Rockets and the Portland Trail Blazers, Julius Erving, the now Brooklyn Nets, and the Philadelphia 76ers. What's interesting about that is, of course, Julius Erving never played with the Nets while they were in the NBA. He played with the Nets while they were in the ABA, and I believe at that time they were the New York Nets. Earl the Pearl Monroe, the New York Knicks, and the Washington Wizards. I think when Earl played with them, they were transitioning from being the Baltimore Bullets to the Washington Bullets. Bob Lanier, the Milwaukee Bucks, Detroit Pistons, the Kimmy Mutombo, the Denver Nuggets, Atlanta Hawks, Nate Thurman, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Golden State Warriors, Jerry Sloan, of course, the Chicago Bulls, and the Utah Jazz. Now, Jerry Sloan was a player with the Bulls. He never played with the Utah Jazz, but he was by far the greatest coach in the history of that organization. And probably that has something to do with that. Kobe Bryant, of course, played with the Lakers for his entire 20-year career, but he initially wore number 8, transitioned after the 2005-2006 season to number 24, and both jerseys are retired. Like, he's the only player to have 2 jerseys retired by the same team. And of course, Michael Jordan spent his career with the Chicago Bulls, then had a 2-year stint with the Washington Wizards. But interestingly enough, Pat Riley chose to retire Michael Jordan's number 23 with the Miami Heat, because he said that he had so much respect for Michael Jordan as a basketball player, he did not want any other player to be permitted within the organization, Miami Heat organization, to wear number 23. I think that this was long overdue for Moses. During the 4-year stint where he was in his prime with the Philadelphia organization, of course, he played 5 years overall, including the 92-93 season. Well, 93-94 season, I think it is. One of those 2 years. During his prime with the Sixers, he averaged about 24 points and more than 13. I think the actual numbers is 23.9 points and 13.4 rebounds per game during those 4 years. And what Moses is most remembered for was the first season. The last season, you can see indications that Moses was starting to show his age. The 85-86 season, Moses Malone at that time was about 31 years old, which isn't old, but he had been playing professional basketball since he was 18 years old, I believe. Starting with, I think, the Utah Stars with the ABA, and with his, extraordinarily physical style of play, it would make sense that he would start to break down a little earlier than guys who just came out of college at age 22 and 23, which is part of the reason why the Sixers decided to part ways with Moses Malone, which I think was a mistake, because Moses still had about, I think, 3 more or 4 more years of being a productive 20-10 guy before he became a journeyman player in the early 90s. But that first year, it was amazing. You got to remember the history of the Philadelphia 76ers. The last title that they had, at that time, the only title that they had was from the 66-67 team. But the Philadelphia 76ers had long stretches after the days of, Wilt and Hal Greer and Chet Walker, Billy Cunningham. They had long stretches where they were horrible. I think it was the 72-73 season where they only won 9 games. They went 9-72, I think, or something like that. 9-73, which is the worst record for an 82-game schedule in the history of the NBA. So with Julius Erving came to the NBA, that brought so much hope to the city. And Julius Erving came close so many times. They went to the finals in 1977, had a 2-0 lead, but then Portland was able to regroup, showed that they were the superior team in that series, and won the championship. Then 1980, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar goes down. I think the Lakers were leading 3-2 going into Game 6, but there was no more Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The Sixers think, okay, we have the advantage. We can come back and win this thing. And then Magic Johnson has one of the greatest games of his life. So, it was hard. You know what I'm saying? Then I think they lose in the finals, and I believe they were the finals opponents for the Lakers in '82. So they had come close so many times. Julius Erving come close so many times, but he could not win a championship in the NBA. And not only did Moses Malone help to capture a championship for the city of Philadelphia, and not only was Moses Malone able to increase his own luster with a championship, but he kind of saved Julius Erving's career, because without that NBA championship, I'm not sure if Julius Erving has the same luster and has that same status that he enjoys today. Yes, he would be a great individual athletic player, but would he be seen more along the lines of maybe a rich man's Vince Carter? if he never won a championship. Um, that's possible. And but Moses Malone was on a tear that first year, man, and he was extraordinarily dominant. The Sixers ran through the playoffs. They won 65 games during the regular season. They ran through the playoffs, only losing one playoff game. I think it was against the Milwaukee Bucks. And in the finals, he totally outclassed Abdul-Jabbar, out-rebounded him 72-30 in that four-game series. I think Abdul-Jabbar averaged like 23.5 points and 7.5 rebounds. Moses Malone averaged in that series 25.8 points and 18 rebounds per game. And during that stretch, in the early to mid 1980s, most people would have considered Moses Malone the best center in the NBA. And I think it's long overdue that he finally is getting the honors that he deserves with the Philadelphia 76ers organization, because he was the cog that year. He was the most he was the most vital part of that championship team, and without him, they wouldn't have won that championship. And that's all I got to say, man.